I stopped using sticky notes plastered all over my desk. The reason is I didn't pay attention to them anyway. I also canceled a subscription I was paying for task management, and I replaced all of it with something I already had installed, and it didn't cost me a dime. I built a task manager inside of GitHub and ran it entirely through Claude Code. It took me about 30 or 40 minutes to get it exactly how I wanted it. And now it does more than the tool that I was paying for that I wasn't using, because I can change anything I want just by asking Claude. By the end of this video, you're going to have a working task manager that costs you nothing, not a trial, not a freemium tier, actually free in GitHub. And if you're already using Claude Code for anything, you don't even have to learn a new tool. You just talk to it. The perception about task management is that it requires a dedicated app, either Asana or Monday, Todoist, Trello, or any of the other myriad of options that are out there. You pick one, you learn it, you pay for it, and you work around its limitations. Here's the shift we're going to talk about in this video. If you're already using Claude Code, you can have a tool that can read files, write files, organize information. GitHub gives you free storage, version history, and access from anywhere. If you put those two together, you've got a task manager that answers to you instead of the other way around. The cool thing is it's just files in a folder. There's actually no database here. That's because Claude Code reads the JSON files and filters them however you like directly from GitHub. And GitHub keeps them synced and backed up. The real kicker is there's no feature request form. There's no upgrade to Pro. And if you want a new field or a new view or a new report, you just say, Claude, build it for me. All right, so here's the thing about sticky notes, at least for me, and about most task lists. I was using Monday. I would set everything up in Monday, and I would go back 6 months later and say, wow, I should have marked these tasks off. And that's the thing, is you write something down and they just sit there. You've got sticky notes on your monitor, a list on your phone, maybe some tasks in an app you forgot you signed up for. So here's what this could look like instead. So I'm over here in Claude Code, not even fancy Claude Code, not Cursor or Windsurf. I'm just using Claude Code through Claude Desktop on my Windows machine. You can, by all means, use other interfaces that you may already have, but I'm purposely doing this bare bones to show you exactly what's possible and how this can help you even with the most basic of tools. All right, so I asked Claude to get my tasks, and this is what it brought back. I am fairly new at using this, so I don't have a ton of tasks so far. But you can see really quickly, we have them numbered. I have 6 tasks. I have the task, I have the due date, and I have the status. A couple are overdue and one is due today, and that's probably not going to get done today. And then it says any updates. So I can easily just talk to Claude and tell it that I want something else added to my list. All right, so I just said add a task to upload my YouTube video tomorrow. So Claude's just going to work on this. It's going to write to the JSON files and add that to my task list. So it says it's added. Anything else before I commit? Let me see these again. All right, so there is my list again, and right there on top says upload YouTube video 214, which is actually 2 days ago. Claude sometimes has an issue knowing what day it is. I put the numbers out there just because I don't have to describe what the task name is to be able to make updates. We're going to mark number 2 is done. It's kind of done, but just to show you what this looks like, it's going to run this, it's going to write it to the JSON file, and after it's done moseying and wandering, it will take it off that list. Now I designed this in such a way it doesn't completely remove it from the JSON file. It's still there as an archive, unless I want to go in and either manually or tell Claude to delete it, but it turns into an inactive task. And so it's there if we ever need it. All right, so this is going to commit to my GitHub repository. I actually have these saved in GitHub, but I also have them synced through GitHub Desktop to a folder in my Dropbox. All right, next I want to look at a weekly view of my tasks. And the cool thing about this, like I mentioned before, is if you get something that you didn't really want or you didn't like how it was laid out. For example, when I first did this, I didn't have a numbered column in front of the names. So I just told it to add it. And so it will make those changes for you on the fly. So let's go back up here, task this week. All right, so here's my task. This is today, which is not quite right. It's a little embarrassing that Claude doesn't know what day it is while we're doing this, but you do have to tell it sometimes what day it is. You might even start with the beginning of your session like that. That might be something to include inside a skill when the session starts. But this is the weekly view. Here's overdue tasks, on hold tasks. I have my statuses over here, and then future tasks. So this is just kind of a weekly view to see what tasks I have outstanding. And this isn't a view I think I've actually requested before. So this was just on the fly, Claude responding to my request and showing me the weekly view that I was looking for. All right, so look, everything I showed you works. We're going to build it in a little bit. I'm going to give you all the files for my public repository for my YouTube channel. But what I want to show you here is this isn't about a task manager per se. This is about building custom functionality with GitHub and with Claude Code without having to add costs to your monthly subscriptions. I was hesitant to start vibe coding some things like this, some tools and utilities, because I didn't want to go out and get a Supabase subscription or Firebase. I didn't even know which database to go get for this. And I was doing some other projects and realized that Claude can do this with flat files, with JSON files and Markdown files, and it does it pretty well. And so I've built several tools, and I'm going to be creating videos about those as well. They're just utilities that I'm using with Claude. And I actually have a morning updates, and I have some of these actually queued up in that morning update where I look at several different things, including my task list each morning when I start my day. All right, so let's jump into building this from scratch. It's not going to be 100% from scratch. I'm going to give you a head start in building this. I'm going to give you 2 or 3 ways to do this. First of all, I have a prompt here, and that's the way we're going to build this in this video that you can initiate, and it has a builder built into it. It's going to ask you questions, the kind of things you want to do with your task manager. I also have a repo folder here that has the basic things. So the tasks, the Claude Markdown, README Markdown, Builder Markdown, and Config. And that Builder Markdown is what you can call to build this out. So this has the scaffolding built out. The other option is if you go in here to YouTube resources, here's the prompt that I'm going to be using. And here is the starter files in a zip file that you can download. So if we go back to our starter, it's going to be these files right here. So 3 points to start. Right here is the demo directory, which I'm going to be working out of during this. So you'll be able to see what this looks like completed. The idea here is I want to give you the resources to be able to look through and see what's going on with this. So you not only learn, but you can have the chance to make some tweaks to the resources before you build it. And by all means, there are plenty of interfaces out there that you could use to bolt onto this. I enjoy using Claude Code for this, so I haven't gone to the point of building an interface to interact with these files, but you could certainly do that. All right, so I am in the build folder that I'm going to use, and I just checked and said, how many files are in this folder? And it gives me 1. So I'm going to say, read the Markdown file. So inside of this, I've packaged prompt that will build out the scaffolding, if you will, and we'll see that in a little bit of the files that are required in the repo. And then we'll walk us through the steps of the builder asking us questions of how we want this set up. All right, here's the content of the file. It defines 7 files to generate. So these are the files that if we go over to the demo, once we're done here, you'll see these files in there. So we're going to look at this. These are the 7 files that we want. I've also added a skill file in here so that it will build this in the process, just so that there's more of a systematic, reliable way for this to work. So you're going to have a skill built in there for your task manager. Would you like me to build this system and generate all 7 files? Yes. There's also sample data in here, 7 pre-populated website management tasks with mixed priorities, statuses, and due dates spread across 3 weeks. So I did that just so we had some data to look at and play with that you'll be able to see once you build this, and then you want to clean that stuff out. All right, so here is all 7 files are generated successfully. So what I want to do is I'm going to start by running the builder.md. All right, so we've got these list of questions, which is pretty neat. What kind of work will this system track? So you get 3 answers here and then a mixed, and then you can type something else. So this is going to be, for me, it's going to be client freelance work. I hit 1, enter. What is your name, organization name? What category set fits your workflow? I want to add or remove or rename any of these categories. Which priority scale do you want? Which priority level should be the default for new tasks? Which optional fields do you want by your tasks? Which status model do you want? How do you want your daily review organized? How far ahead should upcoming look? How do you want archiving to work? Which alerts should the system flag during review? Does this look good? Should I generate files customized to these choices? Yes, generate everything. Let's look at the tasks that are coming from this local folder that we're using. And you can see there's an ID, and so this is in a task array in a JSON file. If we go down here, you'll see there is an array down here for archived. We don't have any archived tasks yet, but when we do, they will look like this. Just drop down here in this structure here. So this is a flat file. There's no relationship, no database relationship, anything happening here. And so that's how your tasks are saved in GitHub for Claude Code to use. All right, all files are generated and customized. So let's say, show me my tasks. And here is our table. All right, so I did a little bit of adjustment on the table output. What I have now is the task here on the first row, and the second row has those details about the task. You can play with this and tweak this as much as you want. There's a moment with these AI tools when you stop thinking of them as chatbots and fancy Google searches and start thinking of them as builders. So what kind of utilities could you build using GitHub and Claude Code for yourself? You can simply describe what you want and make the thing in front of you. And once you get there, you'll realize you don't need to go shopping for software anymore. You can build exactly what you need using some fairly simple tools. So that's the task manager, adding tasks, weekly views, custom fields, all of it. Built in GitHub, run through Claude Code, and it didn't cost us any more money than I'm already spending for Claude Code. The prompt and the starter files are in the description in my YouTube public repository if you want to start from there. And the full setup is in my public repo if you want to grab the files and go there. Alternately, you could just start from scratch and do what I did, is just say, let's go. Let's make a task manager, especially since you've seen some of the things that I've done and had to think through. You might want to build it from scratch. And if you work with AI and want more practical stuff like this, no hype, just how you actually use these tools for real work, I'd appreciate a subscribe. And if you want to get on a call and you want me to help you build tools like this with Claude Code or with automation, that's what I do. I get on co-building calls, one-on-one. We'll spend an hour or two together and we will build you the system you're looking for. I'd appreciate a subscribe and a like, and I will see you in the next one.